February 1st, 2004, Reliant Stadium, Houston. Janet Jackson stood beneath the stage at Super Bowl XXXVIII, moments away from performing what should have been a career-defining halftime show watched by over 140 million viewers worldwide. Instead, the next 12 minutes would produce a 9/16-second moment that would overshadow decades of artistic achievement and fundamentally alter the trajectory of her career. This is the story of how a planned theatrical performance became the most controversial moment in Super Bowl history, triggering a media firestorm that would follow Janet Jackson for years and change how live television was regulated forever. But to understand the magnitude of what happened that night, you have to understand the cultural climate that made this particular Super Bowl halftime show so significant. The NFL had been working to make halftime entertainment more appealing to younger audiences, moving away from traditional marching bands toward contemporary pop performances. Janet Jackson, coming off successful albums and tours, represented the perfect choice. A proven entertainer with crossover appeal who could deliver the spectacle that modern Super Bowl audiences expected. The preparation for the halftime show had been intense and carefully choreographed. Janet worked with a team of dancers, costume designers, and production specialists to create a 12-minute performance that would showcase her greatest hits while providing the visual excitement that Super Bowl halftime shows demanded. Every element was planned and rehearsed repeatedly, from the elaborate staging to the precise timing required to execute complex choreography in the limited setup time available. The collaboration with Justin Timberlake was intended to be the performance's highlight. Timberlake, at the peak of his solo career, following his departure from NSYNC, brought his own massive fan base and would perform his hit Rock Your Body alongside Janet's medley of classics. The chemistry between the two performers during rehearsals suggested that their collaboration would be one of the most memorable moments in Super Bowl halftime history. The performance itself began flawlessly. Janet took the stage with characteristic energy and precision, delivering powerful renditions of All For You, Rhythm Nation, and other hits that had defined her career. The staging was elaborate and visually stunning, featuring pyrotechnics, complex choreography, and costume changes that demonstrated the level of production value that had become standard for major halftime shows. When Justin Timberlake joined Janet on stage for the final segment, the energy in the stadium and among television viewers reached its peak. Their performance of Rock Your Body was dynamic and engaging, showcasing both artists at their professional best. The chemistry between them was evident, and the performance appeared to be building toward a triumphant conclusion that would be remembered as one of the great Super Bowl halftime collaborations. Then, in the final seconds of the song, during Timberlake's lyric, "I'll have you naked by the end of this song," he reached across and pulled away part of Janet's costume, exposing her breast for approximately 9/16 of a second before she covered herself, and the broadcast cut to an aerial view of the stadium. The moment was so brief that many viewers weren't initially certain what they had seen, but those 9/16 of a second would dominate headlines and cultural conversation for months. The immediate reaction was swift and severe. CBS, which broadcast the game, received hundreds of thousands of complaints from viewers who felt that the incident was inappropriate for family television. The Federal Communications Commission launched an investigation, and politicians across the political spectrum denounced what they characterized as a deliberate assault on traditional values and family-friendly programming standards. What made the controversy particularly damaging for Janet was the way responsibility was distributed in the aftermath. While both performers were initially criticized, Justin Timberlake's career suffered minimal long-term damage, while Janet faced sustained backlash that affected her music sales, radio play, and television appearances. The disparity in consequences highlighted long-standing issues about how female artists were held to different standards than their male counterparts. The incident led to immediate changes in how live television was produced and broadcast. Television networks implemented longer delay systems for live programming, and performers for major events faced increased scrutiny and more restrictive content guidelines. The Super Bowl halftime show, in particular, moved towards safer, more conservative entertainment choices in subsequent years, fundamentally altering the creative landscape for future performers. The Federal Communications Commission's response was unprecedented in its scope and severity. The agency imposed a $550,000 fine on CBS and initiated a broader crackdown on broadcast content that officials deemed inappropriate. This regulatory response extended far beyond the Super Bowl incident itself, affecting programming decisions across all major television networks and creating a climate of increased caution in live television production. Janet's response to the controversy was measured but revealed the personal toll the incident had taken. She issued public apologies and explanations, but also expressed frustration with how the incident had overshadowed her decades of artistic achievement and professional accomplishments. The woman who had been celebrated for her contributions to music, dance, and popular culture found herself defined by a moment that lasted less than a second and overshadowed a career spanning multiple decades. The long-term impact on Janet's career was significant and lasting. Radio stations reduced airplay of her music, television networks became reluctant to book her for appearances, and her subsequent album releases received less promotional support from industry partners who worried about association with the controversy. The incident demonstrated how quickly and completely a single moment could alter the trajectory of even the most established careers in the entertainment industry. The disparity in how Janet and Justin were treated by media and industry became a case study in gender bias within the entertainment business. While Justin's career continued to flourish with minimal long-term consequences, Janet faced sustained backlash that affected every aspect of her professional life. This unequal treatment sparked conversations about double standards and how female artists bear disproportionate responsibility for controversial moments. The cultural conversation that emerged from the Super Bowl incident extended far beyond entertainment into discussions about censorship, gender equality, and the power of media to shape public perception. Scholars and critics analyzed the disparate treatment of Janet and Justin as evidence of deeper societal biases about female sexuality and responsibility, using the incident as a lens for examining broader issues of inequality and justice. The phrase, wardrobe malfunction, which was used to describe the incident, entered popular vocabulary as a euphemism for unexpected exposure during public appearances. This linguistic legacy demonstrates how completely the moment penetrated popular culture and became a reference point for similar incidents in subsequent years. The incident also marked a turning point in how major sporting events approached entertainment programming. Super Bowl halftime shows in subsequent years featured older, more established artists like Paul McCartney, the Rolling Stones, and Bruce Springsteen, performers whose careers were seen as less likely to generate controversy. This shift represented a fundamental change in the NFL's approach to halftime entertainment. The broader implications for broadcast television were equally significant. The incident accelerated the adoption of digital video recording technology as viewers sought ways to replay and analyze what they had seen. It also contributed to the ongoing migration of audiences toward cable television and streaming services. Looking back 20 years later, the 2004 Super Bowl halftime show stands as a watershed moment in popular culture, the point where a brief wardrobe malfunction became a defining cultural event that changed how live television was produced and how female artists were treated by media and industry. Janet Jackson's career never fully recovered from those 9/16 seconds, The woman who walked onto that Houston stage as one of the most successful entertainers in the world left it as a cautionary tale about how quickly public perception can change and how unforgiving the entertainment industry can be when controversy intersects with cultural anxieties.